Full. Schon mit ein bisschen, no? You can sit, you can relax, and you can start anytime you want.
I wish to pay tribute to a very dear friend from one of my three countries, Afghanistan, France, and the United States, my three. She was from the United States, and you all know Nancy Dupree. Nancy Dupree, I also had the privilege to know, as well as her husband, for decades. As she leaves us now, I want to pay this tribute. Nancy showed that through service, not arrogance, not personal ambition, but through service, you can become recognized as a permanent monument to the friendship which can endure between all peoples. Nancy came to Afghanistan, as I did, for the first time when Zahir Shah was king. She stayed with the Afghan people in their service in the days when Daoud became president, then in the days of the Khalqi regime, Soviet occupation, civil war, Taliban dictatorship. Through all these conditions, she never stopped serving her idea of a common Afghanistan. And she has left a treasure here. Yak ganj inja mond, the treasure of the archives, the treasure of history, which is our common treasure and which will help Afghanistan once again become an independent country. So I've mentioned these two people, Shahid Omer Sib, Ahmad Shah Massoud, Afghan, and Nancy Dupree, who without ever ceasing to be an American, has proved through all the accidents of history the kind of friendship which can truly last through service. I will not say, because I dare not say, that I will try to continue Nancy Dupree's work, but I will say it nevertheless. Hanuz Megomesh. We are going to bring together with the American Institute for Afghanistan Studies and the French Embassy and the American University in Kabul collections through reproduction of the finest art that was created here in Afghanistan 500 years ago. I would like to point out that these magnificent paintings by Behzad and other masters that were created first in Herat and then with masters like Mir Mosawir of Badakhshan in Kabul and are now in museums all over the world. Nothing is left in Afghanistan. Nevertheless, in the most difficult conditions of war, I remember sitting with Omer Sib Shahid and his commanders in a cellar in 1993 and 1994. The rockets were falling on Kabul. There was death all around. Our French medical team brought the only medicine and the only outside food into Kabul at that moment. And yet, we found the opportunity. Fursat payda kardim. After a day of cruelty and blood and suffering, in the evening, hiding in a cellar, With a generator, we projected onto a wall the most beautiful pictures created by Afghan genius 500 years ago. And everybody found encouragement, tashwiq. I want to specify here that to defend the culture, the civilization, the artistic heritage of a country is not a luxury. When we show these pictures, we see that the reaction of foreigners is one of admiration, amazement, ta'ajjub, and respect. Respect which derives from recognition that Afghans, for thousands of years, under the different names of the country, have contributed very important things to world civilization and to humanity. This is extremely important, and this is what we were able to share with Ahmad Shah Massoud, even in the middle of distributing food and hiding from bombs and defending ourselves. Even in the middle of that, he and the friend I was, we never forgot this. Also, if Afghans can feel that 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, Afghanistan was one of the centers of world civilization, it provides hope for the present and for the future. If you could have masters and geniuses like Maulana, like Hazrat Jami, like Master Ustad Behzad, if you could have such geniuses here, that means that Afghanistan can have them again. The potential is here. This means re-establishing Afghanistan in the family of world nations as one of the contributors to world civilization. That's the purpose of this work. So I will finish again in honoring the memory of one of the greatest men I ever met, and all the French and American volunteers who worked with me recognized this. As Wadi John has just quoted, we saw in Ahmad Shah Massoud, Shahid, not only one of the great military strategists of all time. All my French friends described him as Napoleon Bonaparte. They all did. All came to them. Okay, the strategist. Very good. But what is very, very rare in world history is a military leader who fights without liking fighting, who makes war with no love of war, who, when forced to take up arms, does so without delight. We know that Ahmad Shah Shahid used to meditate on the Kimya-e Sa'adat of Abu Hamid Ghazali, and so many evenings we used to discuss tasawwuf, the deepest philosophy of this civilization. And he took from that a message which accorded with his own heart. Jang kardan bedun nifrat. Az khater ke dushman ham insan ast o belakhera bayad dost bashad. That is why we saw so many Russian soldiers ke taslim jan khud mikardand ba niruhay Ahmad Shah Massoud Shahid. We saw so many Russian soldiers who surrendered to Ahmad Shah Massoud because they knew that Ahmad Shah Massoud would treat them as human beings, would clothe them, feed them, protect them, and where he could, make them reach Panah, asylum in the West. It was this humanity, it was this profound concern for human brotherhood which made the Russians respect Ahmad Shah Massoud, and finally made the communists in Afghanistan give Kabul to Ahmad Shah Massoud. It was victory. This is an extremely important point because in the history of Ahmad Shah Massoud's century, which is the Qarn-e Bistom, the 20th century, we have seen political and military leaders make different choices, and we know that one possible choice was offered by Gandhi, nonviolent resistance. Now, nonviolent resistance, as Gandhi considered it, worked very well against the British. Parliamentary power, democratic power. We know how much Gandhi influenced all over the world people like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Václav Havel in the Soviet Empire. So perhaps that was one way. We have had many people who have taken up armed revolt and fought, sometimes winning, sometimes losing. The question is, with a power like the Soviets or a power like the Pakistani-supported forces which nearly completely destroyed Kabul between 1992 and 1996. Was it possible to offer nonviolent resistance, or was violent resistance the only opening? Ahmad Shah Massoud made the most difficult choice of all, which, as has been pointed out, was made by very few leaders in the past. We mentioned Marcus Aurelius among the Romans, Abraham Lincoln among the Americans, and in Islam, somebody who we should help to make much better known, I think, among the Afghans. His name was Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi, and he was the leader of the Algerian resistance to the French 150 years ago, and probably no person I know of in all Islamic civilization resembles Ahmad Shah Massoud more than Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi, Amir al-Jazair. Abdul Qadir, like Ahmad Shah Massoud, and of course these are people who did not know each other, he used to fight the French during the day, but in the evening he would, dar khalwat, retire with his friends and study, meditate, comment on the tasawwuf of Ibn Arabi. He made war without hate. He made war with such nobility and generosity that one of the French generals even said, "He has the face that we imagine of Jesus Christ." Unlike Amir Abdul Qadir was not victorious. He was made a prisoner by the French, but the French respected him, and they released him after several years of enforced residence in a castle in France, and they let him go where he wanted to go, to Dimashq al-Sham, to Damascus in Syria, in those days part of the Ottoman Empire. Now, look at the similarity between Abdul Qadir and Ahmad Shah Massoud. There was in 1863 a great riot of Syrian Sunni Muslims against the Christian minority. And Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi himself stood before the Sunni crowds in Damascus, protected and saved the Christian minority of Damascus. He, the greatest Muslim resistance fighter of the entire 19th century, for which he was publicly thanked by the French government. It's part of his record. We saw the same humanity, the same universality in the actions, in the behavior of Ahmad Shah Massoud. So I think we can truly say 4 great leaders who made war without loving war, who behaved with mercy, who extended their generosity to all humanity, Marcus Aurelius and Abraham Lincoln, Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi, and Ahmad Shah Massoud in the civilization of Islam. To have seen this, to have experienced this, is a privilege I will bear for the rest of my life. So perhaps I can conclude with a personal anecdote. The personal anecdote is in 1993, this city was under muhasira, siege. No food, no medicine. With my French team of 4 people, it took us 3 months to get from Peshawar to Kabul with medicine. 3 months, just from Peshawar to Kabul. Why 3 months? Because the Pakistanis barred us. بس كل أمورشان از او وقت فهمیدیم. Ahmad Shah sent us an airplane to Peshawar, which was seized by the Pakistanis. And so finally, it was one Pakistani friend, a Pathan, in the United Nations, who hid us in a truck, a United Nations truck, took us over the border, and with all our medicines, dropped us in the middle of nowhere. It's like, here, اینجا از طرف سرحد افغانستان شما رو ماندیم، شما رو کار که میکنین. ما 4 نفر خارجی همینطور 6 تا بودیم با همراهی کل این باکس های تیم. چطوری را انتقال کنیم با کابل؟ حضرت علی پیدا کردیم. حضرت علی دیگر زنگ زد به احمد شاه مسعود. احمد شاه مسعود یک طیاره خرد روان کرد و همینطور خوش چند تون تیم به شفاخانه علی علی آباد تانستیم انتقال کنیم. ما جای گرفتیم در سفارت فرانسه. We took our place in the French embassy. There were no more French diplomats. They were just the Afghan employees, مامورین افغان. So they were very happy to see us, especially because out of our own pockets, ما معاششان دادیم. We gave them their salaries. Now, watch this. We were sitting at a table. We were counting out the money. We gave them their marsh. And meanwhile, there was Tepe Maranjan, and the rockets were coming like that. Closer and closer. ما گفتیم با مامورین خطر نداره اینجا بودن. نه هیچ خطر نیست راکت از اینجا تیر بشه شما هیچ تشویش نخوره. Never mind, you don't have anything to fear, the rockets will just go over. Okay, so we go on counting the money. Meanwhile, the rockets are coming closer and closer and behind us. Are you sure this isn't dangerous? Okay. Fine, we finished counting the money. Filfar, yak nafar az taraf padaretan. Pish ma omad. And he said, Amir seb shoma ro mikhoa filfar bebina. ما خستیم از میز رفتیم به دروازه سفارت فرانسه. در امو دقیقه در امو ثانیه یک راکت سر میز افتاد. اونجا که شیشته بودیم. شنیدیم انفلاخش. پس رفتیم سامان ما چی شده؟ میز کجاست؟ پس با مرسیم گفتیم اینم معجزه دیگر کردیم. اگر شما ما رو دعوا نکردید.
I'd like to say a few words in English too. First of all, I'd like to welcome Ms. Jacqueline, and I would like to thank you for coming here tonight and also for coming to Afghanistan. And also we have this expression in Farsi that we say, and alongside every successful man as a successful woman. And thank you so much for bringing Professor Michael Berry here, and thank you so much for coming here. And also I would like to thank two amazing guests we have in here. Ms. James Taddis and James Mackenzie. Thank you very much for coming here. It's an honor to have you guys here. دیگه تشکر میکنم از تمام دوستایی که همراه ما بودن. امیدوار هستم از مجلس امروز و جلسه امروز ما لذت برده باشین. دیگه انشالله جلسات متعددی میگیریم، باز بخیر انشالله با هم بیشتر صحبت میکنیم. دیگه همکاری شما را با بنیاد، همکاری شما را با تحقیق و تفحص در شخصیت قهرمان ملی میخوایم. دیگه از طرف شما و نسل جوان افغانستان و از طرف بنیاد و سفیر صاحب یک تندیسی هستن که از سفیر صاحب میخوایم دیگه همین را تقدیم بکنن با استاد مایکل بری به خاطر زحماتی کشیدن. پروفسور هر چی که ما بکنیم کم است. این یک تحفه ناچیز و یک برگ سبز تحفه درویش به خاطر زحمتایی که شما کشیدید. بسیار تشکر. تشکر از تشریف آوریدتون. بخیر.